Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Arsenal have now held talks with Granit Xhaka over a new contract. Arsenal have held talks with Granit Xhaka over a new contract with the midfielder, keen to sign a new deal at the Emirates. According to a report from 90 Minute, Xhaka's turnaround has been one of the most remarkable in Premier League history. The Swiss is an absolutely vital player to Mikel Arteta's side. Of course, it was only a few years ago that the 30-year-old's relationship with Arsenal fans appeared to be damaged beyond repair. 90 Minute reports that Xhaka is out of contract in 2024, but the Gunners have an option to extend his deal by a further year. Nevertheless, it seems that Arsenal want to reward Xhaka with longer terms. According to 90 Minute, talks have already been held over a new contract, and there is hope that a deal can be agreed quite quickly with both sides keen. Xhaka has silenced a lot of his critics with his performances this season. He is finally proving exactly why he has been a favorite under each Arsenal boss during his time at the Emirates. It's interesting that he is in line for a new deal. He could potentially be tied down until 2025 already. That will take him up until just short of his 33rd birthday. Obviously, that will likely represent a stage in his career where he is not featuring as regularly. In fairness, Arsenal are probably not going to be dishing out a 5-year deal to Xhaka, but they may feel that he has an important role to play in the coming years, with the Gunners now back amongst the heavyweights. It's also important to acknowledge that he has been brilliant this season, and it will be extremely well received if Arsenal soon announce that he has signed a new deal. Ian Wright delivers honest verdict on Jorginho at Arsenal. Arsenal legend Ian Wright has been raving about Jorginho following the Italian's brilliant performance against Aston Villa last weekend. The Gunners signed the 31-year-old from Chelsea on a transfer deadline day last month. He cost Mikel Arteta's side £12 million, and so far he is proving to be a bargain. Wright has been really impressed. Arsenal's priority target in the January transfer window was Moses Caicedo. The Gunners tried long and hard to sign the Brighton and Hove Albion star, but the Seagulls just refused to let him go. Arsenal then turned to Jorginho and got a deal done very quickly, but the signing divided the fan base with a considerable amount of supporters not too pleased with the Italian's arrival. However, following Jorginho's stunning display against Aston Villa, many people's opinion has changed and they are in love with him now. Wright thinks he is absolutely perfect for Arsenal, he said on the Wright's House podcast. Very impressed with Jorginho. What I loved about Jorginho's game and performance was the experience in it. He was intercepting every pass and caused problems. Some of his passing in that game and since he's been here has been fantastic. They have to warm to the signing because he is a good signing. The problem that people have is he has come from Chelsea, William David Lewis, and we have got Jorginho now. On this occasion, we have got someone who is absolutely perfect for what we need. When you look at the game, him getting forward, the quality of the passing, the goal he scored, everything that happened in the game, and the way he performed is why we won that game in the end. Jorginho really is a fantastic fit in this Arsenal side. The Italian definitely has his flaws when it comes to the defensive side of his game. He struggles in quick transitions and isn't the imposing figure in the middle of the park that someone like Thomas Partey is. However, on the ball, he is absolutely magnificent. His passing range is incredible, his vision is fantastic, and as he showed against Villa last weekend, he can run the show from the center of midfield. Fabrizio Romano makes Mohamed Elneny climb after he signed a new Arsenal contract. Arsenal star Mohamed Elneny signed a brand new contract at the club this week, but the Egyptian was a wanted man. That's according to Fabrizio Romano, who revealed in his daily briefing on Couch of Sides Substack that clubs from 3 different countries wanted to sign the midfielder before he penned a new deal at the Emirates. Mohamed Elneny is Arsenal's longest-serving player at the moment. The Egyptian joined the Gunners all the way back in January 2016 when Arsene Wenger was still at the club. He has never been a regular for Arsenal, but Elneny has always been a popular figure among his teammates at the Emirates. However, many believed the amazing 30-year-old would be allowed to leave the club on a free transfer at the end of the season after he picked up a long term injury earlier this year. Arsenal could have decided to let him go, but the North Londoners showed their class by offering him a new deal to give him the support he needs during his recovery. El Nini, however, could have turned that down for an opportunity elsewhere. Romano claims clubs from Spain, Italy, and Turkey all approached the Egyptian to sign him, but the midfielder's priority was always to stay at Arsenal. Romano said, Mohamed Elneny has officially signed a new contract at Arsenal until June 2024. Elneny decided to sign a new contract as he loves the club, feels really good at Arsenal, and has a great relationship with Mikel Arteta. It wasn't a difficult choice for Elneny, despite interest from clubs around Europe. Elneny had approaches from Italy, Spain, and Turkey, but Arsenal was always his priority. Elneny isn't expected to return from his injury anytime soon, and Arsenal could have easily decided to give up on him. They could have just released him in the summer when his contract was up, but they have shown incredible class to be by his side when he needs them the most. It will be interesting to see if Elneny will be able to return from his injury before the end of the season. Arsenal think Ethan Nwoneri has a big future in their team. Arsenal are trying to convince talented player Ethan Nwoneri that he has a future at the club amid interest from Premier League clubs. According to Goal, the Gunners hope to convince the player of his importance with Manchester City and Chelsea monitoring the situation. Nwoneri is a quality performer, and this season he has made his first team debut. The 15-year-old came off the bench during a 3-0 win over Brentford earlier in the season, becoming the club's youngest ever player. The high-end prospect typically operates through the middle as a number 10. He can also play as a center forward or on the flank, however, and he is still being shaped as a player by the club. The Gunners do want to keep him though. There has been some speculation that suggests he could leave. City and Chelsea are monitoring the situation, and Arsenal have to convince the player of his importance. Jack Wilshere is a huge fan of the player. He has heaped praise on Nwaneri, calling him unplayable. The former Arsenal midfielder knows what it takes to succeed at the Emirates Stadium, and he will have to keep nurturing the youngster. The Gunners have a proud history with their academy starlets. As a result, they should be more than capable of convincing the talented forward player that his future is in North London. After losing Hutchinson to Chelsea, the Gunners won't want Lightning to strike twice. With that in mind, it's no surprise to hear that Arsenal will try desperately to convince Nwaneri. At 15 years old, Nwaneri has a lot of learning left to do. He is scored twice from 7 appearances with the under 18 ranks this season and also bagged a further goal in the FA Youth Cup. Clearly, the Gunners value him highly. He has already been handed an opportunity in the first team, albeit brief, and that should go some way to convince the player that his future remains at Arsenal. Ruben Neves looks set to leave Wolves amid claims Arsenal want to sign him. Wolverhampton Wanderers star Ruben Neves now looks set to leave the club this summer, and Arsenal are sniffing around the Wolves midfielder. That's according to the Athletics journalist Steve Madeley, who was summing up all the latest goings on at Molino. Ruben Neves is one of a number of midfielders who have been on Arsenal's radar in recent weeks. The 25-year-old fits the profile of the all-action midfielder Mikel Arteta wants to bolster his squad. A natural leader, Neves would likely fit in very well among the Arsenal squad, where he to leave Wolves previously, the youngest player ever to captain a side in the Champions League when turning out for Porto. Neves has been a loyal servant to Wolves, helping lead them out of the championship in his first season. He's gone on to make nearly 250 appearances for Julian Lopetegui's side. Now, it appears as though his time at Wolves is finally coming to an end. Asked about whether there was a chance Neves would sign a deal at Molino, Madley said, As for Neves, I would never rule anything out. The expectation at Wolves is that he will leave at the end of the season, but as was the case last summer. There has to be a club willing to pay what he and Wolves want, and there won't be many clubs in the market. He goes on to say that Neves, who has previously been valued at £50 million, will have to leave this summer if he doesn't sign a new deal. His contract expires in 2024, and Wolves simply can't allow him to leave on a free transfer. Plenty of other top sides will be in for the 25-year-old this summer. If it does look like it's his time to go, Arsenal will hope they have a Champions League football and maybe even the chance to defend a Premier League title to offer him. Arsenal made £62 million bid for Rafinha in a January transfer window. Arsenal made a bid worth £61.7 million for Rafinha during the January transfer window, but Sport report that Barcelona rejected the offer for the winger. The Gunners were incredibly productive last month. They brought in Leandro Trossard, Jakub Kivior, and Jorginho as Mikel Arteta's man look to challenge for the Premier League title. Trossard looks to have been a smart addition, but it seems that they made a big push for another attacking player while the window was open. In fact, Sport reports that Arsenal went as far as to make a £61.7 million bid for Rafinha. However, Barca turned down the bid, with Xavi's man not interested in letting the Brazilian leave it just months after his arrival from Leeds. Of course, Arsenal's interest in Rafinha is hardly surprising. They were one of the sides who wanted to sign the 26-year-old when he was coming towards the end of his spell at Elland Road. The Athletic reported that the Gunners were favourites at one stage to sign Rafinha, and the forward was open to joining Mikel Arteta's man. However, the Catalan Giants ultimately came in and secured his signature. Rafinha would have been an extremely exciting signing for Arsenal. He had not had the easiest time with Barca, and yet he has scored 7 goals and contributed 9 assists in 32 games. He was unbelievable while in the Premier League. Certainly, most Leeds fans feel that relegation would have happened last season without him, and it would have given Arsenal supporter a massive lift had they spent nearly £62 million on Rafinha. He would have cost a little more than the £60 million spent on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It will be very interesting to see whether the Gunners reignite their interest once again in the summer. Journalist provides update on Dusan Vlahovic amid Arsenal interest. Journalist Bennett Jacobs has claimed that there is a genuine chance Dusan Vlahovic leaves Juventus over the summer after he's been linked with a move to Arsenal. Vlahovic has been long linked with a move to North London after Mikel Arteta's side nearly signed him back in 2022. The 23-year-old eventually joined Juventus, and despite finding the back of the net on a regular basis under Massimiliano Allegri, he is seemingly unhappy under the Italian boss. Juve News reported earlier this month that Arsenal are likely to test the old lady's resolve by bidding for the striker, with the club struggling with off-field problems. Now, it seems that there is a genuine chance that Juve will allow him to leave over the summer. Speaking to Give Me Sport, Jacobs claimed that Vlahovic is not as happy under Allegri as he was during his time at Fiorentina. As a result, Premier League clubs could be presented with a genuine opportunity to sign him at the end of the current season. He went on to say, Dusan Vlahovic is the other one I think to keep a really close eye on, because there is a real opportunity for a Premier League club to come in the summer and sign him from Juventus, because there is so much upheaval, because their finances aren't great. They are not likely now because of their 15 points deduction to make Champions League football, and even though Maximiliano Allegri could well go at the end of the season, at the moment Vlahovic, despite scoring goals, is not as happy playing under Allegri as he was in the Fiorentina system before he moved. Of course, Arsenal have since brought in Gabriel Jesus after they missed out on Vlahovic, and it could be a surprise to see them move for the £70 million rated striker once again. Ethan Nketiah is proving he can be a useful alternative option to the Brazilian, and it remains to be seen if Arteta would be keen on having another striker in the squad. The Gunners will surely prioritize other areas of the pitch come the summer, as they still seem short in the middle of the park and out wide. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news show, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.